Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dead, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Album Track Ranking A to Z. And strap in, folks. This one's a heavy one. There's only about 7 tracks for me to rank on this one. But boy, this was a heavy, heavy album. One of my favorites from back in the day. I can still remember buying, I think I got it on cassette originally, and then I eventually got it on CD. But I can remember getting this album. It was late 1988 because this album, like I said, this came out in November 23rd, 1988 on Epic Records. And I frequented in a Camelot music store in my town that I was living in. And I can remember there was a girl there that was working, and I remember her saying something about there was this one album that came out, and it was like, oh, I don't even want to put this thing out. This cover is disgusting. Oh, it's awful. Me being the typical idiot that I was back then, I'm like, well, here, let me take a look at it. And I said, oh, yeah, have at it. So I looked at it, and Meliah Rage, Kill to Survive was the album that this poor woman at Camelot was absolutely disgusted by. And so I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. Heck yeah. I think they only got like one copy of it in or something like that. But I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. Needless to say, I don't think this girl was working there much longer after that. But anyway, it was around Christmas time, so she was probably only seasonal help. So let's kind of turn the album around here. Let's show off the band a little bit here. So you got Anthony Nichols here on guitar. You got Jesse Johnson here on bass. You got Stuart Dowie on drums, Jim Curry on guitar, and Mike Monroe on vocals. Now, what you might not know this band that much. Maybe this is a band that kind of flew over the radar a little bit. They get a lot of comparisons to a band that they would eventually go on tour with, Metal Church. Um, Now keep in mind, Blessing in Disguise hasn't come out yet. So this would be, if you're comparing them, you would be comparing it to the first 2 albums. Now, I don't want to get the Metal Church fans upset at me. I like the first album, the self-titled, is an absolute masterpiece. I The Dark is a little more raw, and I wasn't as a huge a fan of that song. You kind of look for some of those lethal tracks like Gods of Wrath on the first album, which maybe Watch the Children Pray was close, but it's to me that album, The Dark, just wasn't quite as powerful. It was a good thrashy album, but it didn't, I don't know, it didn't hit with me as much even back in the day. And it's not one I tend to go to much, except for maybe Watch the Children Pray or Ton of Bricks or songs like that. So anyway, and then here's a CD version of this is the Epic version. Um, Hammerheart Records would do a reissue. In let me see what the year this came out. Sometime in the 2000s, maybe 2010. I don't recall the actual date on this. Shame on me for not knowing that. Anyway, but this comes with a second CD of demos from 87 and some live tracks from 88 and rehearsal stuff from 86. A lot of those demo things would eventually show up, I believe, on this album that was put out by Metal on Mind Rec or yeah, Metal on Metal Records in 2015, called Before the Kill, and this has a lot of original demos, live tracks, and pre-Meliah Rage stuff. So um, now I'm going to be doing the album proper. I know this Hammerheart issue has a studio version of a song called Kill to Survive. I'm not going to include that. I'm just going to include the original 7 song version. Um, so let's get into it. This album basically could be a 7-way tie. And don't get me wrong, I like Kill to Survive. It's a very short, quick, very thrashy, energetic song. But again, I'm just going to go with the 7 track version that I basically just came to love. Um, and this man, I'll tell you, it pains me to put any of these songs at the bottom because they're all great, and I love every single one of them. I could put this album on and I'll start doing the air drums to it, air guitar, thrashing around like a maniac. Yeah, I just love this album to death. I hope to do maybe I'll work on doing an album by album series on this band in the future. I will say after this album, after in the next album, Solitary Solitude, they would kind of regroup a little bit. They put out a third album on a smaller label called Death Valley Dream. They break up for a while. They regrouped with a different singer, Deep in Dreamless Sleep. There was some stuff they did with Sully Erna of Godsmack on drums for a while. So they've been kind of here and there. I think they only had about 8 or 9 studio albums altogether. And while I have listened to them, it's not something that is as deep into my DNA as this one. So enough blabbing. Let's get into this. The number 7 track. I hate doing this. The instrumental Meliah Rage is the number 3 track on the album. And it's just a straight ahead thrash instrumental, has nice weaves in and out, repeats sections a few times, but and the beginning of it features a little bit of a section from the number 6 track, which is the second track on this album, called Bates Motel. And there is that there it kind of takes a section from that and adds to that. Bates Motel. I don't think you need me to tell you what that song's about. I think you might be able to figure this one out if you've ever watched the movie Psycho. So I'll just leave it at that. But this song crushes, crushing riffs, crushing, banging thrash. Oh, I love this song. I hate putting it this low, but number 5 is going to be the 6th track on the album. This would be the 3rd track on side 2 if you're going cassette or LP, Impending Doom. This is another one. This one just comes in, kicks your rear end, thrashes on ahead. Banger of an album, banger of a track. Love this song. Number 4, this is going to be the album closer, The Pack. Probably the longest song on the album. It has a little bit of a drum solo here by Stuart Dowie. Just another song. I love this. It's another song. Mike Monroe's vocals here. He has this capability of having this really harsh thrash voice, but my God, could he sing? He had such a strong, great voice, and still does. I don't think he's in. Last I heard, I think he's more of a more in ministry and more into I think he has a construction business, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's really much in the music business these days. But absolute crushing ending track on the album. Number three here is going to be side two's opening track, fifth one on the CD, Enter the Darkness. Again, just another heavy thrash groove, great guitar work, soaring vocals, awesome track. Number 2, this one's going to be the album opener, which they also did a video for. I believe they did, yeah, they did a video for this one called Beginning of the End. Um, man, again, these heavy riff grooves. And again, Mike Monroe's soaring vocal. Ah, man, there's so many. I love the guitar work. I love the guitar work in all of these songs. Number 1 is going to be the side A closer called Deadly Existence. And this one, the reason I love this song so much is I just love the opening. It has this it just has this heavy riff, low end riff groove that just, they with the arrangement and then the drums kick in. It's just this thrashing, just man, mosh until you're blue in the face kind of groove. And it's just unrelenting track. Again, Mike Monroe's vocals here just soars. Loved Mike's voice. My God, this album, this had a lot of time on my cassette deck. And then when I got it on CD, man, it spent a lot of time in my CD player too. Man, I have such great memories of trying to learn the riffs of this album on guitar. I remember I had this guitar. It kind of it was like it was a cheap knockoff. It was like it had like a Les Paul body, but the neck had a little bit more of a Fender feel to it, and it had like a Gibson headstock. I think I gave it to the brother of the a girl I was dating at the time, and because he was wanting to get into guitar, and I don't know, I just remember playing that through my amp, and I was like, man, this sounds really dirty and nasty. It had a really good tone. I always loved the sound of that guitar. So Mike, if you're out there, I don't know what you ever did with that guitar, but I hope wherever it is, I hope whoever's got it, I hope it's still in good hands. So there you go. Anyway, Meliah Rage. What do you guys think about this? And what do you guys even know this band? Check these guys out, man. This is a great, to me, this was just a great thrash band that just got overlooked. And it's a shame. Because it's just this album just is such a banger. It just they came out of Boston and it was like the Boston area just kind of had their own vibe and feel for thrash at this time. So really highly recommended album to check out. So there you go. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dead. Like, share, subscribe. You know all the lingo. Tell me what you guys think about Meliah Rage. Hopefully soon, maybe this year, I'll try to do an album by album rank or track or an album by album series on these guys and give you guys an introduction more into this band. So rock forever, y'all. Take care. We'll see you soon.